Hello, familiar faces.
Hello. Happy belated
Hello.
birthday to Ursula.
Happy birthday, Ursula.
Thank you.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey. Gosh, apparently I haven't talked enough yet today.
Right?
Get some coffee to swallow all that morning angst.
Yeah, it's morning where you are, huh?
It's later morning, but yeah, still morning.
Gotcha. Cool. So as we're getting started, anyone who didn't get to play with our experiences on site at PBX can scan the little tiny QR code in the screen that I'm sharing. I'm going to do one now as well, and we'll see those start to pop up in a moment. And let's see. And I can also put in the chat a larger version of that, which could be helpful. Yeah, people coming from everywhere.
I'm slowly going to lose the light because I'm sitting outside ballet in the car. So
We appreciate you.
if I go into darkness, you'll know why.
Gotcha. I would rather you go into ballet. See some moves.
It's not for me. My daughter is in ballet for 2 hours. So
Likely story.
It's amazing that you've got that custom backdrop in your car.
I
Ursula.
know. And if I turn my phone around and put a light on, I'll have perfect lighting as well, Lisa.
So for those of you just joining, we got Bender coming in from the waiting room. We'll get started in just about 3 minutes, and I'm going to do one of these experiences here right now. And as we do this, we're also going to see them start to pop up on that slideshow screen in a moment. So let's do it. And these are the experiences that everyone got to play with when we were at PBX.
I got to play with nothing.
Nothing. Well, here's your chance.
Yay.
Me too. I didn't even get to walk the show floor.
Yeah, I barely did.
There's no HR, right?
Stuck away for about 2
If I
hours.
say I got to play with myself, that's okay. We're in mixed company.
Well, I got a couple of free nights, so yeah.
Cool. So let those rock. And
Is Sammy in the waiting room?
I don't see a Sammy yet.
He might come in with me.
Hey, Bender.
Hello. Feeling almost human today again.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Cherie, you look so pretty.
Hey, Cherie. We missed you this year.
I know. I missed everyone.
So much.
Cherie, when I said your name, all of my Apple devices got very excited. Does that happen around the house?
I don't use Siri because it's a problem.
Gotcha. I'm not a big Siri person either.
It always goes off when people say our name, or my name. Yeah.
We have a vendor whose name is the Amazon version. I'm not going to say because I'm like steeped in Amazon devices here. And anytime we're on the phone with them, it's just like nonstop. Cool. So as we get started, we have a bunch of people here. This is going to be kind of an open mic scenario for everyone to talk. We have some of my favorite folks in the room and some new friends that I've met in the past week. And I thought this would be a really good time to kind of just do a round table and talk about some of the cool things that we saw on site, things that we didn't necessarily expect, things that we did expect, things that we saw a lot of, not a lot of. I think something we can all agree is the answer to the next photo booth is not to put more LED lights on a stand. That's my personal take. And it just seems like every year they manage to put more LED lights on a thing. So that's where I will start. So I would love to do this as a little bit, like I said, of a round table where we can first start by introducing ourselves and our affiliations. And then we can go through and actually just have some really cool conversations about what we saw. So anyone who would like to participate, please turn on your cameras now. If you don't have your camera on, I'm going to make the assumption you do not want to participate. But if that is not the case, you can throw up your hand. Ursula, you're in the waiting room again, which I'm assuming is a Sammy.
That should be. Hi, I'm Sammy's TA.
Hey, Sammy. How are you? So, hey, Kebra, how you doing? You back in Portugal? Not yet? Oh, you're on mute.
I'm in the US till Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, travel safely. Hey, Mary, I saw you in the chat. It's A-okay if you don't want to throw your camera on. If you have any questions, since it's just me running the webinar, I may not see you in the chat. So you can like raise your hand or come on camera real quick and go like this. And then we can pop at you. We also have Francis from the OutSnap team who just joined. He is the one who keeps me sane on the OutSnap side. Cool. So let's dive in. I'm Nicholas. I run both OutSnapped and Pictor. This was a really big year for us at PBX. We were really lucky to partner with Mike and the Moby Booth team. We had a really nice big footprint on the floor. We were able to showcase a lot of the really cool video stuff we've been doing and also kind of set the record straight that Pictor is not just an AI company. So that was really cool too for people to start seeing all the things Pictor can do. So I'm going to pass right now, Ursula, you're on my left. So why don't we go, Ursula, if you want to introduce yourself, and then you can call out someone else and introduce themselves.
Excellent. So my name is Ursula McKinley. I'm the co-founder of Photobooth Marketing, which is an education and resource platform for Photobooth owners globally. We are also the owners of Media Lab, which is a successful Photobooth business in Ireland. And I'm really glad to be here this evening. I will hand over to FMX Photos because he's on my left.
I think that's me, right? This is Robert
Hi.
from also known as Trevor, if you've seen me that way. FX Photo Booth, Hershey, PA. And I would have to say, Nicholas, I saw you at Create. I was at the booth. It was a shocking experience at the Moby booth setup. Every time I went in there, I got shocked.
Oh, it's literally shocking. Yes. We are aware. I think, Mike, you said that flooring is not coming back next year.
Yes. We left 1,200 square foot of foam flooring there. And I think David at LA Photo Party took about 600 square feet of it.
Good luck.
Sounds good. And
I got Lisa. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask what's one thing that you saw that was shocking in a not physical way? You can pass. No pressure.
The thing is, between Create and the floor, I saw so much. Like your head kind of tends to spin.
Yeah.
There was a lot to see, and as much time as I spent on the floor, I didn't see everything I wanted to see. So,
100%. And I think one thing also to note as we go into this was the first year of Bootcamp Create. I've been to similar things like that Chris has done, and I really think that it's interesting how much people value the education. I'm not surprised. I shouldn't say interesting. I really liked it, and I thought it was a really nice way to get to meet so many people and put faces to names that I didn't necessarily get to do on the showroom floor at PBX. And I think it's community for me is something that when I first entered this world about 10 years ago seemed to be more prevalent than it is now. So something I've always liked about Ursula and Sammy's world is they foster community in a very big way. And then it's a very active Facebook group, et cetera. So I think that's really neat. So, sorry, Trevor was your name?
it's Robert. It's Robert.
Okay,
I have Lisa up next. Lisa Oler.
cool. Lisa, I think that you got,
I am. I had to take myself off mute. I'm Lisa Oler. I'm with White Label Creative. I've been in the business going on 16 years now. I do mostly, at this point, I do mostly contract work. I work mostly with Nuna out of the UK. My experience with PBX this year was a little different. I've attended every year since the first one, I believe, in 2016. I do agree that the educational content needs some improvement. My takeaways from PBX were I was super impressed with Matt Radicelli. I was so glad to see him up there blowing our minds with what AI can do in a business. And then my second impression was this was the year of enclosed booths. Last year, I think it was definitely the robotic arms, and this year was enclosed booths. So it was interesting to see how cyclical our industry is and what's old is new again.
Mm-hmm. And who would you like to pass to?
Let's pass to Art.
Guys. So Art Armani, of Armani Entertainment, Photo Booth Magazine, Roll Up Ads. Yeah. And the Photo Booth Expo, I absolutely love it. And I've seen so many things just kind of like evolve even faster than ever over the last few years. I think just since COVID, it's just blown up. I unfortunately this year didn't get a chance to walk the floor a whole lot because I had a booth there. And but what I did see, I like certain things that most people may or may not be adopting. I mean, I'm very simple. I like the sketchbot kind of thing. That's something that my clients like. Just I wish I would have seen the floor more. As far as education, again, this year I didn't get to go to a whole lot of them because I was so busy. So I'm kind of just listening to everybody else's views of what the education was like. But what I have seen, and I think we need to kind of come back to is, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but you've got the main Photo Booth Expo and people are saying, well, the education is not so great, or could be improved. But we have all these other satellite things that have popped up because of PBX that probably wouldn't be as successful without the core of PBX being there. So I think we still need to be thankful that PBX is there in general. And it could definitely improve. And I don't know about the logistics or the financial reasons why they don't have some of these other people as part of it, but maybe that could change in the future. I think there's some more collaboration with the groups that are producing these satellite conferences. Maybe Rob could bring them in more warmingly into the conference and make it all one kind of cohesive thing.
I think we'll go with no comment on that one because I think just looking around this room, I know a lot of people who've tried to do that, and I can't quite explain why it has.
I know why.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't I just introduced myself. I thought we were introducing ourselves first and then going to talk.
Yeah, that was the original plan, but go for it.
I have a train of thought on this, and actually my posts tonight on social media are about this. So I am a true believer in education. It is the one thing that we do to the core, and I will educate anyone in this industry, and I will learn from anybody else in this industry and take everyone's views on board and try to help everyone. The one thing that I've seen this year at PBX is people are very quick to jump and judge what other people are doing and how badly other people are doing it. But when I spoke on stage this year, I talked about the 4 levels of booth. And I talked about the entry level where people in. I talked about level 2 where people are starting to grow more than a part-time business. I talked about 3 where they're now innovating and growing a business and bringing a full-time wage and profitable. And then I talked about level 4, which is the likes of Nicholas or Lisa that are sitting on this call that others aspire to be. PBX actually offers education for everyone, no matter what level they're at. So whether we have to have a certain amount of respect for what Rob has built with PBX, the education that he offers may not be right for the people sitting in this call, but the education that is offered is for people coming in that isn't going to terrify them. Then we have the likes of the Women's Conference that do an absolutely great job at empowering women and giving them a safe space to go and be educated, and it is getting better year on year. Then you have the likes of PDM Live that we run that is a smaller intimate group where we say, okay, you want to make 15, 20 grand a year, our weekly calls may be a wee bit crowded for you, so we do this live once a year, come see us. Then you have what Chris is doing at Bootcamp Create that is for the top 10, 15% of the industry to look at and be inspired by and to go off and try to grow and implement within their business. And that's what I've seen this year. I've seen hundreds of people coming together, networking, learning off each other. It's up to you as the owner to decide what room is right for you. and to make sure that you're present in the rooms that are going to benefit your business. What I did see on the show floor was there's nothing new. And Lisa nailed it on the head. And this is the same with marketing. Trends go round in cycles. But what is happening is what used to be old is now being innovated by the power of the softwares that we have in the industry to make our businesses better. And so we are going to get that full circle where I had tipped and closed booths to come back last year, and there was a little bit of it. They were huge this year. So it's about setting those trends and looking at it. Happens in every industry. Something gets marketed by one person within the industry, and somebody takes it and makes it a little bit better and a little bit better. And then that craze dies off, and then it comes back. Like, one thing that we're seeing in our business that I didn't see in the show floor was the massive comeback of 360. It's not Glambot that clients are asking for. They're looking for 360s. But the technology and the advancements within the software, like yours, Nicholas, and others that are out there and available, is the superpower. And I've seen that across the show floor. There was not one booth this year, no matter what they were doing or what they were selling, did not have a photo booth with software in it doing something for them to create content, which is what it's all about. So I'll be quiet now.
Well said. Well said. And I think, I think one thing that we think about at Pictor all the time is what does it mean to be a photo booth operator? And we really try and design for the photo booth company. And that means shaving seconds off that turn into minutes and hours. And then also, because we run events, we know what the end user experience needs to be like as well. So we really have two client types that we're designing for, and we think about that a lot. So, Ursula, do you want to pick someone else since you went again?
Mike Bender is on the other side.
I'm Mike Bender, co-founder of Moby Booth, which we spent the week with Nicholas, which was awesome. I'm also the founder of photoboothtemplates.com. I've been in the industry for, I guess, coming on 17 years. And I did not really get to walk the floor myself. I don't normally get to, but it really did seem cyclical. I mean, it just feels like what we did 15 years ago is coming back. But as Ursula mentioned, the software is playing the part this time. So we'll see how next year goes. But I can say from a vendor perspective, there's definitely some changes that probably need to happen. So I think there's going to be some conversations that Rob's not going to want to have with a number of us. So we'll see how it goes.
Elaborate, Mike. Tell us the joke. We need the tea. Don't stop there. Tell the whole story.
We just need, we need him to properly engage people. We can't.
Mike, I have a question. Did you think that that people were more software focused than they were hardware focused this year?
I don't know per se how all the software suppliers did. It's not typically I think it's a show and tell, not typically a strong sell on site. So software is always challenging for people to quantize. Hardware perspective, it was definitely not a good hardware. I spoke with several other of our peers, and we'll see. Definitely was more software focused that I feel like, as far as what people were interested in, because like there's only so many ways you can box an iPad and a camera.
Yeah. And Cherie, we'll go back to you in just a moment. And I think one interesting insight that I have as someone who is selling software, in previous years, we've partnered with numerous types of hardware. And then this year, directly just with Moby Booth and showing what our software can do on a Moby Booth. And I will tell you that people come up and they ask about the hardware often. And then we refer to whomever, we're using the hardware from. In this case, it was Mike and the Moby Booth team. And so I do think that the questions that I was receiving were still kind of equal on the software versus hardware side. And, a lot of times someone will be sitting in a Moby Booth and say, tell me about Tap to Pay, in which case that person comes over and chats with us because that's the software powering it. Or with us, they're like, oh, tell me about this DSLR booth. And I say, oh, let me introduce you to one of the mics. So I do think that people are more tuned into perhaps knowing what they're asking, software versus hardware. But I didn't see a distinct difference in the way people talked about things from years past? Cherie, if that answers the question. So, Cherie, why don't you introduce yourself? I know you weren't able to make it this year. You were definitely missed. But maybe you could talk about what it looked like from the perspective of the internet, because I'm sure different things were bubbling up on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I was just watching from the perimeter basically because I wasn't able to be there this year. But I do see just the shift in the industry in general is being more like, obviously with Pictor, you have a strong focus on AI, but I'm seeing so much of that, so much focus in the groups, focus on AI. But then when I also reached out in the women's group, I was curious how many people are actually using it. So again, I was just curious about what the dynamic was, and that's why I'm really here today because I want to obviously my business all of these details matter in my business
Sure.
as a vendor. So and I mean, I was really bummed out that I couldn't be there, but I did see a lot of most of the people were talking about the enclosed booths, AI, and then what was it? Booth Active had their little like writing
Yeah.
booth, which I think was really popular.
Yeah, the Scribble booth, I think, was really
Yeah.
also popular this year.
And again, that ain't new.
Not
Somebody
new.
does-
I know. I
somebody-
didn't want to say it, but it's really not new.
Yeah.
And
But
then but I guess
it's
it's the first time that anyone's offered it on a larger scale. And
Yeah.
I come from I started in this business almost 18 years ago, so we came from like enclosed booths. So it is weird to see it go full circle. Also strange to see that there really wasn't a lot of focus on 360s. I texted with Mike about that over the week, and he said there really weren't that many there. So it was surprising to see that people were asking about that as well.
Cool. Cherie, why don't you introduce yourself so people know who you are if they aren't familiar with you? And we also have Bill from OrcaView, who is the sort of OG of 360. So if Bill is able to turn on his camera and join us, I think maybe after you speak, we'll pass to Bill to talk about maybe the difference between their new like sort of Glambot robot arm versus the 360 and how that's being perceived.
Sure. So I own Photo Booth Talk. It started out as a forum in 2009, I think. I took it over in 2011. Um, and that was really where a lot of the industry was built out. Um, Mike had Photo Booth Owner, so there was a lot of traffic there too. But that's really where you see a lot of the beginnings of the innovation that we see in the industry now. The styles of booths, like Mike was saying, putting lights on a stick. Those like popsicle style photo booths were built out of these forums with one person sharing an idea, and then it just grew from there. And so that's where I started. And then eventually, because in the forums, I was really well known for the graphics that I use in my own photo booth. And so Jeff Toy actually had approached me and asked me if I would sell some of the designs that I had already created for my own clients. And then that just built itself into a template business. And so we sell memberships and one-off templates now. And that's where I'm at.
Very cool.
I sold my photo booth business. I sold two of them. One in 2012, the year before my son was born, and then again in 2019, I sold my second business.
Good timing on that one.
Yeah.
Bill, are you able to join us? I
Yeah.
know that you're off camera, but
Yeah, I'm here. My camera's not really going to work very well.
oh, no
Unfortunately.
worries.
Hey everybody.
If you want to just introduce yourself, and then you can talk about the 360 verse robots.
If you don't know, I'm Bill Wiley. I own OrcaView. We have two primary products, 360s, which we've had for years and years, and then over the last couple of years, we've introduced the Glambot. But I would go back earlier to the kind of the education levels. I thought we did participate in the Bootcamp Create, which was a new way of doing it. Let me back up even further. 360s are pretty easy to learn. It doesn't take a lot of education. There's so many out there. We didn't even demo one live this year at PBX because most everybody knows about us. Most everybody knows how 360 works. So it didn't seem really relevant to or a good use of floor space. Glambots, on the other hand, are new, and a lot of people are still kind of trying to figure out how to work that into their system if they want to. But take a little bit more education, and so something like Bootcamp Create, where it was just 10 at a time. Not even for our product necessarily. I think it was a great way to kind of get people like, okay, I get it now, or I don't get it, or I don't want it. But at least they had a good chance to experience it and think about it. The same thing on the show floor. We basically set up 3 different stations because the whole objective is just to get people to try and learn about it and see what it's all about. I would say from a manufacturing standpoint, like in sales in terms of hardware, 360s are not. We don't sell nearly as many 360s now as we used to. I don't think that would be a real surprise. But our overall sales compared to last year are up quite a bit. Glambots are catching on, so we're selling a lot more of those now. And we sold a surprising number. You're right, I guess, when I think about it, a surprising number of 360s versus what our plan was going in. So altogether, I mean, worked out okay. I think the show is absurdly expensive for vendors. I'm sure no vendor would say otherwise. It's all the unions and all the rest of it. So that's another discussion for here, perhaps. But I agree. I can't remember who brought it up, but I have a feeling we're on the same page on just how much it costs to be there. So that's it. But we're always open for questions, and let me know if you have any.
Cool. Bill, do you want to throw to someone else on the screen who hasn't had a chance to?
My good friend Sammy. Sammy, what are you doing, buddy?
How you doing? I'm glad we're good friends, Bill. I didn't know that.
Only as Dwayne. I only know as Dwayne.
Yeah, and so Ursula's pretty much covered me. So she's the headline act. I'm the cover band in photo booth marketing. Co-founder of photo booth marketing. I also own a probably quite a heavy bridal focused social photo booth business called Booth NI. And then we have Media Lab as well, which is sort of corporate activation stuff. So yeah, I've been doing that for over 12 years roughly. Takeaway from the show, somebody already beat me to Min or Timo on his scribble booth. Do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to cop out and say props. I actually left this year with props, which I never do, ever. But I just thought the range of props was, the quality of them this year was amazing. And actually, for the props I got, I had to fight for them. I had to go over and say, keep them for me. Don't sell them to anybody else. And then almost sneak them out at the end of the show. You know, there were prop quality. And I don't actually, I needed props. That's why I bought them. But I was impressed with the quality of props this year.
This has somehow made it back to New York.
You've got the cane.
Speaking of props, as someone who ardently hates props, this was a cane made famous by Sammy's doppelganger.
Right.
And ended up in my hands.
How did you end up with
to
that?
accidentally leave in my friend's car who was driving me to the airport. And
Right.
I got to airport security and they had questions. So it made it back to New York, which is pretty amusing. So that'll be the thing that we pass off on each other over the next handful of years.
I actually left the fur coat that I used for the awards. I just left it in the room in South Point because it would not go back into my case. It was like vacuum packed. And then once I opened it up and it sort of puffed out, I couldn't get it. I just said, I'm leaving this. So there's a fur coat over the back of a chair.
Nice.
I think where Sammy's coming from is the likes of, so I still, by the way, Sammy, there's another bag of your props at my house that came out of another suitcase. I don't know how you sneak them in there, but to add to it, JYS has developed her prop business and is about to open a store where she'll be able to do full print work. So her stand, she actually built her custom stand herself. The backdrops, the enclosure, the photo experience on the end, she built herself. And so she can now offer everything and had started the prop boxes last year and is pushing innovation in that side of the business too. Like her custom stuff is brilliant. She can deliver within 3 days. So there was definitely, that's something that was very good and nice to see as well.
And that's JYS. I have to look them up. I didn't get to meet them on site.
Yeah.
JYS Prop. Yeah, so she didn't really talk about it, and her launch is coming, but she got the keys to her store to before PBX. All her
Oh.
equipment arrives next week.
That's amazing.
And yes, you can do full but her stand at the show was all her. She designed it, and so there's great innovation coming there too, and an extra resource for all of us that are crying out when we need really good custom printing done.
Yeah, I had a
Amazing.
chance to actually corner her on that backdrop, or the what I call the 3D wall, and she told me everything about it, and it actually puzzle pieces together, which is amazing. And she's making it there. She said we can have it within 3 days as long as she has the artwork. You can have it, and she does the flooring too, like the vinyl floor. She's just come. I agree, Ursula. She's just come such a long way. It's been a lot of it's due to you, and you're coaching her, right? That's what she tells me. She literally tells me that. So bravo. I love that stuff that she's doing.
Neat.
Yeah, and another take, and I talked about this with you earlier, or was it last night, Ursula? And this doesn't really relate to anybody in particular, but there's so many good vendors in this industry. There's at least half that show floor. Maybe we have a relationship with them, but there's so many of them with such a good product, that are good people, that have good service. There's so many vendors like that on that show floor. When you look around all the different people, and we all on this call know each other, but like the really good, solid vendors, people you could trust. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Agreed.
Nicholas, I know you didn't want to go this direction as early with the show, but I just want to ask, did anybody see the video from Ben Stowe's presentation on the DJ side?
I did not.
Okay. So he did a really good presentation. It was very heartfelt, and he talked about how the DJ Expo is pretty much dying, right? And a lot of it had to do with people not showing up to the expo. And I've seen it. Like, that's where I started. I started on the DJ side, and it was huge. And it is dwindled down to barely nothing. Like in Atlantic City, we have one every year, and it was packed like pre-2020. And every year since then, it's just got less and less people and less vendors. Vendors don't want to show up because people can buy stuff online. And what I don't want to see, and I think a lot of that has to do with the negativity that's posted online about the show. It's like, it didn't do this for me. It didn't do that for me. It didn't have this. I don't want to see that happen to the photo booth expo or whatever we end up doing, because I love the community that we have. And the last thing I ever want to see is see myself and say, well, it's dead. I'm not going to the photo booth expo this year because there's only going to be 2 vendors. So I think we have to kind of like curb some of that negativity that's being said out there, because Urso's right. It's what you get out of these expos. It's not just what's the new shiny object, right? It's about camaraderie, community, and learning from one another. A lot of these people on this call were friends because I'd met you in person, and it wouldn't have been otherwise online.
Yeah.
So I think we as kind of somewhat leaders need to kind of help curb that and keep this industry alive and stamp out this negativity.
I agree with that completely. And I think for me, it's been really interesting to watch my experience change, because I, up until 5 years ago, pre-2020, was there as an attendee. And the experience for an attendee is so incredibly different than a vendor. You know, for an attendee, you can afford, maybe it's also because I'm getting older, but I could afford to stay up all night doing crazy things and meeting people. As a vendor, it's like, I got to go to bed by 9:30 because I got to be on the floor from 7 a.m. talking to people and making sense until 9 p.m. And then I got to go hide in my room so I have social capital for the next day again. So I think that's something really important to point out, and sort of something for me to take stock of. And I've been thinking a lot about again, is how do I continue to meet people outside of the vendor role? And a lot of what we're trying to do around Pictor is sort of raise community around, rising tide raises all ships kind of vibe is something that I've always believed in. And I think also in terms of negativity online, we've all been there. It's very easy to write a scathing comment and not really think about what it does. Something that's been really new to me now that I'm running customer support is like, people don't necessarily realize that a offhand comment and a little complaint can trigger hours and hours of work for people. Someone came in and was like, "Hey, this thing is missing." I did a spot check. To me, it wasn't missing, but then it triggers two devs, multiple people, 8 hours of work combined to write back and say, "I think that this is a human error," right? Like, you can't just write back to a client and say, "You did something dumb," right? So you need to make sure that all these things. So there's a lot of learning on my side from just that. And I think it's really important that we do raise that community, because I think it's something that's so important to me. And also with regards to Facebook too, like I used to live on Facebook, and it just got to be such a negative place overall that I just try never to go online, because it always ends up bringing me down. I posted a selfie and I have people like complaining to me about AI taking their jobs, and it's like, uh, can't you just say this looks cool? Like, it doesn't. Looks cool. Right. So I personally try, especially with my vendors that we work with. And if I have an incredible experience at a restaurant, it's like for every negative thing that I put on the internet, I try and like drown it with positivity. Because as someone creating, and we all know from running our own businesses, like people are generally thankful, but there's a difference between when someone sends you a message saying, "You did great, you aced this, thank you so much, it did X, Y, and Z for us." It means the world to get that as a business owner. So I think that's something, yeah, that Art, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think we can all,
I just
yeah,
I want to tag on to that a little bit. I definitely agree that negativity breeds negativity, and I love, Nick, how your social posts are always so positive and uplifting and warm and loving. I love to follow your Instagram stuff. Um, and I also think that it's important, though, especially for vendors and people who are attendees who are paying money to go to these conferences and these sessions, that they feel that what they're getting a value for their money.
mhm,
And if the vendors are no longer feeling that, they're going to stop spending money or reduce what they're doing on site, and that's going to limit what's available to attendees as well. So I do think it's important to have these conversations, maybe in groups like this, that's more targeted and directed, and this information can be shared back to the promoters of these events, so that they continue to be a place of learning and a great place of commerce, so that people can continue to grow their business or start their businesses. So yeah, I think that some of these Facebook channels can become a cesspool of negativity, but within that are very, very good gems of information, small nuggets that people need to take back to heart and to make things better.
I agree with that completely. And I think maybe we put a pin in this part of the conversation, and we can schedule another call around that, and let's spin it back to positivity, because I did see some cool things, and I would love to hear from your perspectives the things that were really cool. Hey, Kayla, thanks for joining us.
I'll
So,
go next.
yeah,
Hi.
Lipa, if you want to introduce yourself, and then
Yeah. So I'm Felipa Cespedes. I'm based out of, I operate in Minneapolis and in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and in North Carolina, Winston-Salem area. I love going to PBX, no matter how corny and lame the classes are. It really is about the people you meet and that high you get from being on the floor. The classes, kind of like what everyone was saying, you take the gem you can, you run with it, and then you get to ask more questions to other people who either roll their eyes, like I observe. So I love to see like when people roll their eyes, I'm like, okay, what does this guy know that I don't know? Or just kind of like those key things that you can kind of pay attention to. But some of the key things I love, first of all, can we give a shout out to Orcaview for selling the bags? Yes, I am so happy they're selling the new they're selling the 360 bags you can replace. Mine have broken. So I'm really excited to be buying some Orcaview bags. Some of the things that aren't photo booth related that I enjoyed. I don't know if you guys got to see the 3D crystals. Did anyone get to see that? Oh my gosh, that thing. So basically, you upload a picture, you scan a QR
I
code, you upload
did.
a
I got
picture.
one for the kids. Yes.
Yes, they're so cute. And then it printed on the spot 3 minutes or less. You guys, that thing was genius. So I loved it. Um, something that would be an add-on, I think. I don't know if I would do it, but it would be something that I would like to pitch. The claw machines was cute. Um, I'm obsessed with the memory game. I have not been able to sell that thing, but I will still continue to pitch it. Pictar, you know what? I love your guys' stuff. I was sad about the email thing. It was like I couldn't every time I tried to take a picture on all of the booths, it was like, "Enter your email. Are you female?" And it was just kinda taking too long when
Oh,
I just wanted to see something.
gotcha. Yeah, so we do since Pictor is we have different modes, and I don't wanna get into too much Pictor, but I can help you after. Just the quick answer is the gender selection is going to become optional. It's something that I feel strongly should be there for people to choose their gender. If you're taking multiple images, if you're with either a group of people or other people and we're using AI, you select it again in case a different person has taken a photo. That's why that's
Got
there.
it, got it.
So
No, I didn't mean this, I meant, like, the typing of the email and then, um, over and over and over again. Like, I didn't know what I was selecting. But anyways, that could
well,
just be user error.
let's chat about that because I would love to hear what you're talking about, and then we can fix it if it's something that we can fix.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
cool. So
So
if
I
you
had more, but
oh,
if you wanna
yeah, do one more and then pass to someone else.
okay, okay. I really like how the video booth with touch picks in their software. I know that it probably can be done, but there was another one with looked like a 8 ball, where
Mhm.
it was an actual photo booth and a phone. I actually had a client ask me about that same day I saw it, so that was something I saw. But yeah,
Cool. Pass to someone else.
let's go with is it something McDonald? Is it Graham
Graham.
McDonald?
No.
I always tell people it's like the cracker, like graham crackers. Hey guys, I'm Graham. I'm from Pixelated Photo Booth Gigs. I actually wasn't able to make it to PBX this year. This is the reason why he was born last Monday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, so now his birthday is forever like right around PBX, which will complicate things.
PBX
Um,
was 1 week earlier, which is gonna make it even more complicated for you.
oh my gosh, geez, yeah, yeah.
But all the best.
But no, I'm stoked to jump on the call and just hear people's perspectives. I've been doing this for 15 years now, and um, it seeing these repeat trends, these things that we're talking about of it's all going back to the beginning. I literally just sent an email out to somebody that's looking for an enclosed booth, which is what we started with, and it's like, okay, well, I've got probably all 5 of them still in storage, so let's start dusting them off and getting them ready. So that's kind of funny, but no, it's neat to kind of hear just the throughputs of the show, and also interesting to hear that there was some drama. But yeah, I was sad to miss it because it is just such an inspiring time to like meet with different people and run into. We're in a unique position in Montana where I don't have. This sounds bad, but I don't have a ton of competition, so I also don't have a ton of like local peers, and so going to PBX is really good for me to be kind of like able to, have these conversations that you don't get to have close to home.
Mhm.
So it's more of a networking play and just getting inspired from walking the floor and seeing everything. So I'm glad to be able to hear some perspectives of people from the show.
Cool. Do you wanna call on someone else, Graham?
Yeah, for sure. Who have we? How about Kebra?
Okay, my audio is officially hopefully working. My name is Kebra. My business partner and I are both actually on the call. We have 360 Pit KC. Um, we've been in business for 5 years. We very quickly learned that if you're going to have a 360, you want an orca view. I think we're up to 5 of them, but we also have kind of pivoted our business. It's no longer our top seller. We do rank number 1 for it, but we are, we are, I don't know, you name a booth, we'll put it together. I wanted to just mention gratitude at being on the call because 5 years in the business, I kind of still consider myself a bit of a smaller player. Both of my partner and I this is part-time for us, but we have literally more business than we can handle, which is not a bad problem. And for the show, um, honestly, for us, we went in with questions, like business questions that we wanted to have answered. And so, like having a seat at this table or being able to walk the floor and talk to people that have had more experience than we have is invaluable as we're really working to scale our business.
Cool.
Okay, so let's see who has not chatted yet. Rick, have you chatted yet?
Not yet.
Hello, everyone. I'm off mute, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Rick Sherm. I am the chief jack of all trades for Big Time Selfies. As Ursula's so kindly pointed it out, that my wife is the boss. Anyway, you know, what I like about PBX is the networking capability of it, right? The first year that we went was 3 years ago. It was an eye opener for us because we were, small, didn't really know what we are doing. Can't say that we necessarily know what we're doing now, but I think we're a little bit better. Um, but as Ursula kind of said, the training that was then was great for us, right? We sat in it, we soaked it up, we did things with Alan Berg, we did the PBM live stuff. We did all that stuff, and it was great. We was able to absorb it and everything else. This year is like Ursula says, is that when we look at it, a lot of it was repeat. Very much the same concepts and stuff like that. So that really makes sense. That it as you grow, your training sources and education sources need to change as well. Um, so that being said, when having Create this year was great. Um, got to put my hands on experiences that I've never gotten a chance to do before. So that was awesome. Even though a lot of it has been well noted as nothing really new, except for yours, Nicholas, obviously. But but still, it's like revitalizing stuff that's been in the past that's coming up, and being able to see that, touch it. It was all good. Um, on the floor and everything else, I'm kind of seeing a trend that a lot of the software vendors are getting to the point where it's just about a commodity across, the different software technologies, that a lot of them can do what everybody else can do. With just a few that have something special, a specialty type thing for them, um, and such. So, that there is getting harder and harder to kind of depict, saying, well, hey, I'll admit it, we're currently using DSLR booth. Well, I need to look at something else because I want to do AI with my PC based ones. But where do you go to? Because there's 4 or 5 different vendors out there that can all do it. So that's becoming a little bit more of a challenge. I think definitely the enclosed booths were good. Unfortunately, we did not get out of Vegas without buying one. So we are a proud owner of that, and the Scribble booth is also something that is on order already. Again, jack of all trades, not the boss. So I know where those purchases came from. But we did make it home with our Orca View glam bot, so that was awesome. But anyway, so that's my ramble. PBX, I hope, stays live and vibrant. I hope to see more and more maybe advanced, education opportunities to get introduced. So yeah, there you go. I'm not sure who has not talking. Let's see. Gregory, have you talked?
People with their cameras on, I think everyone has gotten to chat at this point. If there's anyone who hasn't gotten to chat and they would like to throw on, Kayla, if you want to say anything, I know we chatted a bunch. Suzette, no pressure. If you guys don't, then we can go from there. So
I'll say a couple things.
cool.
Sorry I popped in late. I had a meeting with a venue to hopefully get on a preferred vendor list, which was fantastic. Um, the thing I like the most and that I've heard everybody else say is networking. Photo Fun Spot, our company, has been in the business for about 15 years. So as far as the education aspect of PBX, it's not as valuable to us anymore, but the networking with our peers, our frienders, as we like to call them, has been the best part of PBX for us. As far as new equipment, I really liked the Scribble booth. I thought that was pretty fun. I think it's going to be a hit this year. Working on hopefully getting something ordered and also an enclosed booth. I just think those are blowing up. And I'm kind of like, it hurts my heart a little bit that people call them a vintage booth because I was born in 1990 and I'm like, it's not vintage. I'm not vintage yet. So
It happens very fast. I apologize.
no, I don't like it.
If
And
you're
Nick, it was
vintage,
also-
I am ancient.
Yes.
I'm extinct.
I don't think you guys are at all. But yeah, Nick, it was great to chat with you. Great to see you at Create and get to talk with you on the show floor. I swear I'm going to fly out and have you teach me Pictor, have you run through it with me because it's not difficult. It's just, I just need some hands-on training. So,
So I will say we're in the throes of a really big UX UI design, and part of that is onboarding and onboarding flows. So it's about to become a lot easier. I don't want to give a date because that's like the best way for it to not happen. However, this is a really good time for anyone who is using the software to give us your wish list and your gripes because we can only catch so many things on the front end. So, but yes, I would love to. And this call, it's really like I've been saying, it's very important for me to be less about sales and more about trying to get groups together and knowledge each week. But we will for sure do show and tells again at our software base. And we have had people with some specific asks. And one of the things that I think will be fun is when someone has a specific ask, since we don't technically do builds for people, we can offer to do a live build and then everybody can join in and do that. So
I like that.
That'll be cool.
That's fun.
So we have about 10 minutes left. Kalai, hi, nice to see you. If you would like to go quickly,
Sure.
we can do some lightning round stuff and then we can all go off and make our $1 million for the rest of the day.
Kemper is my business partner, as she spoke earlier, and I would say ditto. I think the highlight for me was at Create, getting to talk to you and watching the new technology. I'm super excited about the QR without the equipment.
Yeah.
So that's probably the big highlight for me, because I think that we have a lot of corporate clients that I think we can really market this to. So that's my biggest highlight of the week. And again, the networking, that we got to meet some really smart people that kind of helped us get a better understanding of workflows and just kind of learning about how other people work their business. And it was good networking this last week.
Cool. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone for spending time with us. What I'm going to do is just a lightning round. I put a poll in and Zoom doesn't show you people's answers, which is really silly because like this is the time where I'd want them. I have to go into the back end to see what everybody wrote. So if I ever work at Zoom, that will be my first change there. So if you ever see that happen in your polls, you could say, oh, that's where that guy from Pictor went. He's now at Zoom. So let's just do a lightning round real quick of the things that we think will be the biggest trend for next year as we move forward. I will start and I'm going to steal everybody, so try and use a different one. As someone who makes AI first software, and as someone who runs a company with extremely cutting edge things, we did a handful of years ago, back in 2016, I think, we bought the Northeast market of MagBooth, which was one of the original like sit-in photo booth companies for events based out of New York and multi-market. And we have had those things going out of the office nonstop this past year. It's been wild to see that happen. They're my favorite booth because as a little kid, I was obsessed with, I will call them sit-in booths, not vintage booths. Sit-in booths, I would beg my parents to go to different restaurants so that we could get photo strips. And that's sort of how I ended up here today, as like my life eventually just went to a place where I can make photo strips in my apartment anytime I want. Um, that being said, the irony for me is that to create the vintage aesthetic, we're using AI to do that. So we can make things look like they have light leaks. We can make things look like they have stains, like they have old chemicals. The only thing we can't do yet is make them smelly like the old photo strips are. So I thought that that's really interesting. I love seeing Moby Booth bring one to the stage. David Hobrath, who also brought one to the floor, not the trade show floor. He was at Bootcamp. And I'm really curious to see who can solve the don't need to rent a box truck and still have this thing still be stable enough to protect from what I come from the nightlife world, so I always call it never underestimate the power of one single drunk person. So that's stability. So looking forward to that. I am going to pass to Ursula because she's who I passed to last time and she's still to my left. So lightning round of the trend that you think is coming. Try not to use sit-in booth, but if that's all you got, go for it.
I know what Ursula's going to say before she even
I'm going
says
to say
it.
merch booth. I'm going to say because
Sorry, you cut out.
one thing we have to remember is, so I'm going to say merch booth. So merchandise with photo booths,
Oh, yeah.
because as an industry, we were all talking about it last year. The trends are created at PBX. Anything we've seen on that show floor is not what your customers are going to ask for this year. It's what you need to learn and prepare for this year. It's what customers next year will be, because other operators who've already been doing it make it famous. Then people start asking for it. So I would say merch booth is going to be one of the biggest trends this year.
Can you give me an example of a merch?
So, for example, editable lanyards for conferences or keychains and buttons for weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Right down to the new glitter prints, which we'll probably see later.
Those are gorgeous.
Yeah. Not that we're ever going to have content for them, but I'll stop talking now. Yeah, that's what I think. I think merch booths will be one of the big trends.
Cool. Sammy, you want to follow up?
I'm I'm going to cop out again and say AI. And to be honest, I was quite AI adverse. I fought against it for a long time. I'm not winning the battle with AI. It seems to be here to stay. I think AI, but on a level where we're starting to lose the whimsical superhero shit, and we're going down the road of, is that AI? Where it's just slightly touched people up, because we live in a world where everybody's happy to look that little bit better, but they don't want to look fake where it's obvious. I think people are quite happy to use AI stuff if it's micro adjusted or it's really editorial. You know what I mean? You know that look where, is that AI? I think that's certainly where I'm going to try and take it this year for my own business.
That's no secret. That's been sort of our long game on the Pictor side. You know, for us, I'm a photographer first. I love a DSLR. You, in this day and age, don't need a DSLR for a lot of the things that we are doing on site. And one of the things that we often talk about, like I said, is like, what is going to make the life easier for the photo booth company? Photo booth company, as an owner, I'm sitting at home on Saturday night and I'm starting to see photos come in and I'm like, what is going on at that event? And so what I mean by that is, let me just show this because I think this is a really good example of what Sammy said and where we're going with this with our sit-in photo strips, right? So we purposefully had a DSLR booth set up doing incorrect things. So overexposed, this is real DSLR on the left. On the right is the AI output from that with some of that discoloration that we were talking about. Also on that note, people did not realize it was AI, so we actually had to change people's hands so they could see that we were affecting the change. Here's something that was completely out of focus, brought mostly into soft focus here, and then more of a correct to correct. So I think we're going to see that a lot more. Something that we put out last November with Pictor and we've never told anyone about is DSLR effects, which you can stack different camera effects on. So for example, you can say, I would love the look of a Nikon F5 with Velvia film with a 16 millimeter lens with 3-point lighting, and you stack those all together. And you are making, in fact, a generative AI output, although it looks photorealistic from a different camera, right? So I think that, Sammy, please, to the next person.
Ooh, let's go, Art.
All right. I'm a simpleton. I like things that are simple, easy. I don't like carrying big, huge equipment. Kind of on the AI, and it's already out there, right? You guys are all doing the watercolor portraits and the caricature sketches. I just think that's something that's a lot of people are familiar with. In my area, in the bride Facebook groups, they're asking for live watercolor portrait artists, and they're asking for caricature artists. The thing with that is, when you have these artists at an event, unless you've got 4 or 5 of them, you can get through 5 guests an hour. And if you've got a wedding, which is what I primarily do, of 150 guests, and they're only available for 3 hours, 15 of those 150 get to experience it? So I think pairing that experience with, a booth that kind of looks and feels that artistic feeling, like the tripod booths, adding custom frames that the brides can select, that the guests can select. It sounds so simple, but it's answering a problem of having that watercolor artist or that sketch artist. And I was at a bar mitzvah like a month ago, and like 10 people got to get their caricature when the rest of them were told to come back 15 minutes, 20 minutes later. So for me, I don't know, that's what I'm pushing this year. That's my big push to my brides.
Cool. Mike, I know you have to go for your own call, so if you want to just chime in, and then we can wave you goodbye, and I'll catch up after.
Kind of touched on, obviously, the enclosed we think is going to be big this year, hence we brought that back with the sit-in style. I agree with the AI and the micro adjustments. Been actually doing a lot of that myself. Outside of that, not being able to really get on the floor and get to see a whole lot of the other stuff. So those are kind of where both that I see growth still, and we still have inquiries around that have ramped up. So kind of both those spots are key for me.
Cool. Felipa, how about yourself? Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Thank you.
I would kind of add on to the what Ursula said, the additions, the keychains, the badges, the merch stuff.
The cookie printers.
Yeah.
Cool. Kebra, how about yourself?
It's a great question. We have done everything digitally, like, for a very, very long time, which has saved us money and a lot of headaches. But we realize that printing is where, like, the strips. And so then it's like, what are all the things you can do with those printed strips, which is the keychain, and it is the, like, how do you make more money at that event? And so we're printing more, a lot more, and we're figuring out things to do with those prints. That's where we're headed.
Very cool. Sorry, I changed the view and now I can't see everyone. Let me go back. Rick, what do you think will be the trend for this year?
All right, now what I'm seeing is the caricatures at the weddings and the watercolors.
Cool. Lisa, yourself?
So it's interesting to me because as a Gen Xer, I've seen quite a few trends come and go and make a reappearance. And I have kids who are, 18 to 21. And what's so interesting to me is how analog starved they are. We've made everything so digital, and, AI and the, digital sharing. And like Kebra was saying, it goes back to, having that tangible experience. So even though we're using AI in our photo booth, like you're doing, Nick, with Pictor, making those micro adjustments that look more an analog experience. So I think we're gonna see a trend. As much as AI is becoming part of our lives, we're gonna be starving for that human quotient, and I think we're gonna see a lot more harking back to some of those older trends.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, what Lisa said and also what Kebra said, we at Outsnap, I love a print myself, but I hate printers at events. That's one more thing we got to bring. We got to bring 2 of them. Cables. It's always a cable that goes down. It's the last thing you check, that USB cable, And what we used to say, I used to use bar mitzvahs specifically, or weddings specifically, as my sort of like gauge on printing, because you have like children and then you have grandparents. You get to watch how this entire spectrum of people deals with a print. And there was a long period of time where anyone under 20 was taking a photo of the print and then just leaving it on the floor, right? And that's not happening anymore. I'm seeing everybody want that print again. So I'm shaking my fist in the air that we need to start doing printing. But also, I personally, I don't love all the merch stuff. We may have to do it. I will go in kicking if I have to. But what we have been doing is upselling. We had an event today for a pretty big movie studio client, and I pitched them on metallic paper because they really wanted to do an AI thing, but they couldn't get sign off on AI. And I was like, well, why don't we use this metallic paper? It's an extra few bucks. It looks different and feels different than just a normal print. So that's something that we're definitely going to be doing more of. And that sparkle paper, that was the first time I had seen that. So I'm also going to piggyback on wanting some of that in my life. So cool. Cherie, I would love to pass to you. I think you also have a data set probably of what people are leaning towards aesthetically. Did you see baseball cards continue to rise or trading cards continue to rise over this past year, or has that sort of plateaued? And
It was really, really popular in the 6 months after last year's PBX, and it started to dwindle down some. I was really curious about the sparkle paper, but those of you who are doing the drawings or the watercolor, I would highly suggest, if you want to make it a real experience, like a luxury experience, I would suggest not using photo paper. Instead, switching to an inkjet, a high grade inkjet and then using actual watercolor paper or linen, something that looks authentic, because you lose that authenticity when you and you cheapen it when you put it on photo paper. So if you're going to do that, I would definitely move it to a different medium.
Highly agree. And I saw, I don't remember if it was Chris Meyer who they also went one step forward and put it in a mat, which made all the difference too. Really beautiful. And they had the mats pre-signed by the brand, I think, and it really made a difference in what it presented as.
Can someone tell me about the glitter paper?
Oh yeah, Ursula, that was Symphonia.
Oh, okay, that's what Marilee's been using, right, Lisa?
Yeah, they have glitter paper. They have this holographic paper. They've got the translucent. The Swift photo printers
Swift
offer one
photo.
of that.
That's what Marilee's been using since she got the samples last year.
Another thing about our photo printers, you can select a matte finish instead of glossy. It's definitely not the same as using a specialized paper, but it still gives it more of that retro feel. It takes about twice as long to print, but they look really cool.
Yeah, for anyone who's ever pulled your ribbon open and wondered why you have that clear one, that's actually the matte layer, and it goes on and just puts literally a not shiny layer on your print. In the newer print drivers for the DMPs, they have luster, which is a little bit slightly different look than matte. It's halfway between matte and not. Then they have a super matte or a fine matte too, Lisa. I don't recall what they're calling it, but it does take a little bit longer. At Outsnapped events, we always have that on because I think it just makes it look a little bit more premium.
And they add a little bit of texture.
Yes, yeah. Cool.
The one thing about that printer was we bought a lot of media back in September after PBX Europe. We bought the printer and we bought the translucent, we bought the glitter. What else did we buy, Sammy? The pearl, the metallic. The quality of the picture has to be outstanding for it to look right. So if you're doing Roman photography or you're using a DSLR booth, absolutely. If you're using an iPad booth, don't even touch it. That's the takeaway, that you have to, the picture quality has to be outstanding.
Interesting. Cool. I would love to, if you're open to sharing, see some of those samples as well. Art, you went, right? Cool. Robert from FX Photo Booths, would you like to share?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I had a Pictor account, but I signed up for it this year, was that whole aesthetic look of being old, right? That old fashioned thing. Because clients in our area are looking more for that a vintage look. So we now have an enclosed photo booth, and so I'm trying to move to that aesthetic, and we're doing the merch stuff as well, right? With keychains and stuff like that, and maybe looking at other things that way. We always had people come up to the photo booth at a wedding and say, how much does it cost? Right. So some people at a wedding are actually prepared to spend something.
Right.
But yeah, I see the aesthetic as being more simple, clean. We use Cherie's templates because they're that way too, much cleaner look to them. Sorry, and I guess Mike's gone, right? So he didn't hear that. But that's what I see as the trend in my area.
Cool. And then Kayla, I think you are last standing for the trends that you see coming, and then we will.
I feel like everyone took all the trends. For us, it's going to be a lot of those takeaway items, the merch, the keychains, the magnets, the buttons, the everything like that. I feel like there's just been such a rise in our market. We're in the Midwest, so I feel like everything kind of trickles in and then finally gets to us. So being able to offer things like that right away is great. I've seen a lot of interest in them. And then this is probably an unpopular opinion, but the sketch bots have been so popular with corporate, even though the sketches, they're not my favorite. People just love to watch them do what they do. So I think they're going to be popular specifically in our market.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's it's really interesting. And we've had talks with some of the sketch folks about using our AI in them that have kind of fizzled because there's really no reason why they don't have to look like you.
Yeah.
So that's a question. So perhaps we'll look into something like that on the Pictor side. Cool. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I know that you're all very, very busy folks. After this call, you will get a little NPS. We'd love to hear what you thought of the call because we want these to be something you're excited about every week. So if we're missing the mark, please let us know. For those of you who would like us to show something specific in Pictor next week, please also drop that in there. Kayla, if there's something that you saw last week that you really just would love another primer on, happy to do that, or Kebra, Robert. So thank you everyone for joining. Please let us know what kind of things you'd like to see in these shows and also in this software. So thanks so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.